Divine Ascension here to help you ascend. Today I want to go ahead and do a 2022 Twin Flame Collective reading. In the background you're going to hear Synctuition playing. It's a meditation application that plays bilateral music to help increase your intuition. It's been wonderful for me. Try it out if you'd like. Let's go ahead and get started. So the first question that I want to ask is, as we are going into 2022, where is the Twin Flame Collective energy? Where are we at on both the feminine and the masculine side? So let's go ahead and take a look at feminine first. Feminine, which would be watching the video. Feminine, which is not a gender, but more of the polarity of the soul. Divine feminines are known for being very nurturing. They're typically the ones that are going to be watching tarot readings. The ones that typically are chasing in the connection. It doesn't have to be exact, or it doesn't have to go right along with what everybody's saying. You could have some divine masculine traits in the connection and some divine feminine traits. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the divine feminine. Where are you at divine feminine? So we got the Knight of Swords, the Two of Wands, and the Five of Cups. All right, so as we're rolling into the new year, 2022, the Knight of Swords energy. So for a lot of divine feminines, I think that a lot of divine feminines, 2021 was really a year of illumination into some of the wounds that really made us who we are, right? Some of the wounds that really resonated and in a lot of ways might have wreaked havoc in the connection. With this Knight of Swords energy, you know, it's almost like it was a motivation to move forward. Motivation, whether that be in career, to really pursue the things that really sets divine feminine's heart on fire, whether that be as far as the connection's concerned, and maybe doing something different, like not trying to do the same things and get different results, trying something different, right? Maybe not chasing anymore, maybe not, you know, really being so attached to this connection that there's really not much else going on in life. But divine feminine is really in a place where she wants to push forward her dreams, push forward the reality that she wants to resonate with, and that's a very beautiful thing. I think that we see this, then of the fear that comes along with that as she's taking this leap with the Two of Wands. Really kind of feeling like she's jumping into the unknown. Doesn't really know, you know, how things are all going to plan out. Maybe a little bit more planning could have gone into the plan that she has for the new year. But she does realize that the steps she's taking are onto uncharted territory, and she realizes that. But she still wants to take that jump with the Knight of Swords and do something different. Then when we look at the Five of Cups energy, really what I'm getting here is that it's because of some of the failures that she saw in this last year with the divine masculine. And it always comes back there, right? This is what's motivating her. And what I'm kind of getting, you know, for a specific group of divine feminines, it's made you realize that you weren't happy, especially when a lot of your focus was on that connection. So you're starting to focus on some other things. It could be in a career. You could be starting your own business. You could be, you know, choosing to really, you maybe go get the help, go see a therapist. There's a lot of things that this could be, but you're taking steps towards feeling better, right? Towards healing some of this wound, and that regret and that failure is your motivation. So it's a very beautiful thing. What else do we have for divine feminine going into the new year? All right, so we got the Five of Wands, Ten of Cups, beautiful, and the Six of Wands. So that Five of Wands energy, right? It is reversed, right? She's trying to avoid some of the same strife that she experienced in 2021. She does not want that to be her reality anymore, and she's taking steps towards making sure that that's the case. She's mixing it up, right? And even being in a place where, when looking back at the connection, she can agree to disagree on the way that some things went down. She's willing to surrender that aspect of the argument, because at this point, it's not worth it anymore. She doesn't feel great. She hasn't felt great, right? This connection has really kind of torn at her, brought up many of her wounds, brought many things to light, and now she's ready to move forward, letting the ego go, right? There's not two sides to an argument anymore. She's saying, you know what, I surrender my side for peace, and that's a very beautiful thing. Now, when we're looking at the Ten of Cups energy, what I'm getting is this is for divine love. And I think what she's starting to realize here is that it has to start with her, and putting herself in situations to make herself feel less than is not working anymore. And the beautiful thing about seeing this Ten of Cups energy as it relates to a twin flame connection is she's realized all these things and she's taking these steps for herself. What that is really illuminating is that when she does that, she does actually align with divine love, right? With the twin flame connection. When she does when she takes those steps towards really just shifting her energy away from, obsessing over this connection, obsessing over her masculine, and when this is all going to move forward and become the relationship that she's envisioned, she's starting to let that go. She's starting to agree to disagree with the universe on how things should look as far as the connection is concerned. And then we have the Six of Wands swooping in with that glorious energy of victory, right? This is where she feels like she's going to win. What she's been doing up until this point has not been working for her, and she recognizes that. She recognizes that the steps that she's been trying to take towards her masculine to bring this relationship into fruition are not working for her anymore. But she knows that if she takes a step back and focuses on that new business idea, she focuses on loving herself and building a life. It's not just about healing, but building a life that she enjoys, building the life that makes her as excited for her life and has, the luster for life that she had for her masculine. She knows that she will see success. And that's a beautiful thing, guys. It's a beautiful thing, guys. Let's go ahead and take a look at the masculine, right? In your masculine, again, this is just a polarity. Masculine, you see stability. They typically are really good at setting boundaries. They can be kind of cold in a lot of ways. They also don't like feeling tied down, or very sensitive to any sort of pressure that could be made from expectations. So we're talking about the masculine polarity. This is the person that would not be watching the video. They typically don't really care too much for these labels, twin flame. They just know that they like this person, right? And for whatever reason, the energy it just doesn't make them feel the best, and they run away from it. It's a lot of pressure to them, so they run away. So let's take a look at this. So with the divine masculine, how is he feeling going into the new year? What kind of energy is he in? We've got the Two of Swords. So that Two of Swords energy, it's like when looking back on 2021, he sees that he had to weigh up two very difficult options, right? To reach out or take steps towards his feminine, or to stay back in the shadows. It was almost like I'm damned if I do, I'm damned if I don't kind of energy. That really catch-22 energy. You could see had equally as much on the good column and the bad column for both options. So it made it very difficult for him to take those steps that I think that Divine Feminine may have been anticipating for him to take towards her. It wasn't easy for him to do that. So he kind of stayed on the fence as far as the connection's concerned, just because it was very difficult. Let's get some more with the Hierophant. With that Hierophant energy, it's like he was stuck. What really had him on the fence was just this wanting to conform to the ideals, I think, potentially of his family, of society, and wanting a relationship that looked like that, right? Like every romantic comedy. He's the guy that comes in, meets the girl, and then everything's perfect. There's no issues. Maybe they have one issue, and then cue the montage where you flash through it and it's automatic. It's miraculously fixed. And then, they get back together. It's almost like to a certain degree, he had certain expectations for the connection as well. And I think when he was met with the fire and the passion of the Divine Feminine, that really scared him. And it really was outside of what he had envisioned for himself as well. And that's really what kept him on the fence. That's what kept him in the place where he was having a tough time making a decision on whether or not to come towards the connection, on where to put his energy. When we look at the Two of Cups reversed, in a lot of ways, this is kind of a reiteration of what happened. Like, you guys are in separation. If you're watching this, that's the group of individuals that I'm resonating with here. You guys are in separation, right? You guys are in a breakup, and I think it's due to lack of trust. I think it's the triggering of each other, which really For the masculine, it puts him on edge, right? It puts, he puts up a wall when it comes to that. Because you're like, it's almost like the divine feminine is really bringing some things out of him that he's not ready to address or is not willing to address, especially because this is not what he thought it was going to look like. This is not what he thought it was going to look like. Let's look at, as we're going into the new year, just, I would say the next couple months, what does the connection look like? All right, so we got the Six of Pentacles. We got the Eight of Swords. We got the Eight of Wands. So with that Six of Pentacles energy, what are we looking at? So what I'm getting here, as far as the connection is concerned, I'm seeing that there's an even exchange of energy. As a twin flame collective, right, or a twin flame couple, we're constantly exchanging energy. Likely, most energy is coming from the feminine. What I'm getting is there's going to be, it's almost like this metaphysical, like check-in with each other. Constantly kind of testing where the energy is. For the masculine, it's going to be very unconscious. And for the feminine, this should be something that should be conscious. A lot of feminines are not aware that they're sending their energy to the masculine, and it can definitely be a contribution to some of the results that we see in the connection, right? So if you're still obsessing over the masculine, if you're still hurt and, sending negative energy towards the connection or being in that energy, the masculine's feeling it and it's kind of pushing him further and further away. So what I'm getting with this and what's resonating here with the Six of Pentacles is ultimately it's kind of like an even exchange. But also I want to highlight for the feminine, it's really highlighting the fact that she needs to be giving to herself, which is going to then send the energy out to the masculine, really ultimately communicating that she's actually in alignment because she's focusing that energy inward, and twin flames, are ultimately the same soul. So it's actually in alignment with the connection. This energy right here, this opportunity and this exchange of energy is really an opportunity to start moving towards union if the feminine, who is in control 100, 200% of where this connection's going, if she's sending the right energy, if her focus is in the right place. Let's take a look at the Eight of Swords energy. With that Eight of Swords energy, what's being highlighted here in the connection is how these negative thoughts, maybe a victim mentality, can really hinder the connection, kind of just really snowballing off of this card, right? If the feminine is in a negative place as far as how she feels towards the connection, how she feels towards herself, if she's not consciously taking steps to overcome some of those things, to forgive her masculine, right? To do her shadow work, right? To make sure that she's focusing her energy and her love towards herself. Ultimately, we're going to end up it's going to just be a cycle going round and around. You might see your masculine again, but you're going to just end up back at square one in separation, right? So this is really highlighting both, and this goes both ways. Not to say that the masculine doesn't have to put in any effort, but we do have to understand that the feminine, for the most part, as a conscious party, has a huge contribution to how the connection is moving along. And ultimately, like I mentioned, the feminine really needs to focus on her energy and make sure that as these energy exchanges are happening unconsciously for the masculine, hopefully consciously for the feminine now, right, that she's aware of the energy that she's sending. And then when we look at the Eight of Wands energy, what I'm getting is that this is manifestation ultimately in action, right? When you have a feminine sending energy to her masculine, he unconsciously is getting these signals for ultimately where the connection is, right? And if the feminine's not mindful of her energy, she's going to see in, the 3D, in her reality, the results of that energy. So, if feminine starts really working on her stuff, she's really focusing on herself. She's really building a life. She's like living, she's being present. She's like, in her life. You know, she's not on autopilot, just imagining what this connection should look like, or, you know, really obsessing after her masculine. When what she's putting her energy into, she's going to see very quickly. So it can go either way. It can go very negative, and the connection can be pushed further and further away, or by changing her energy, she can see her masculine taking steps towards her a lot faster than I think that we've experienced in the last couple years in the Twin Flame Collective. All right. Let's take a look at some of the things that, as we move in towards the new year, what are some of the big lessons that are going to be shown to the Twin Flame Collective? And then I'm going to ask after that, how can we overcome those things? What are some of the advice on how we can overcome some of those lessons? How we can learn those lessons. All right, what are some of the lessons for the Twin Flame Collective? We've got the Star reversed. We've got the World reversed. I love it. And we got the Ace of Wands. So the Star reversed. What are some of the lessons that we're seeing? It's about our faith. And this kind of goes back to even the cards that we were just reading, right? That was like the ultimate manifestation. The universe was telling like Divine Feminine, like, hey, where your energy is what you're going to see, but quickly, right? That, you know, that Eight of Wands energy was saying that this isn't like something where you do it and then you have to wait for months on end. No, it's like saying very, very quickly. Where you put your energy, you are going to see those results very, very quickly. It's about faith. It's about walking in faith, right? And believing, you know, in that the universe, you know, that what you put out there is what you get back. And that's going to be a huge thing. And I want to say for the Divine Feminines, that's going to be a huge lesson. And how do we walk in that consistently, even when you might not see those results that you're looking at? How do you operate in this energy of what you want and what it is that you truly desire without seeing it in front of you? And I think that's going to be a big thing in general, right? Even outside of the Twin Flame Collective. But, you know, that's what's being shown to the Divine Feminines. The World card reversed, right? What are the lessons that are to be learned in 2022? So with the World reversed, it's about being content, is what I'm getting here. Like, to really surrender to what is, right? To be okay either way, like if you're together and if you're not. This is a whole manifestation game, right? If I'm okay, if I'm with my masculine or not, if he comes, cool. If he doesn't, cool, you know? And that's really just assuring the universe that you're ready for what it's going to give you. And oftentimes in being in this obsessive energy over our masculines, we're communicating to the universe that we lack something. So what does the universe do? It shows us that we lack this. The universe is calling out our faith and is calling out our mindsets and saying that I'm going to give you exactly where you're vibrating at. I'm going to give you exactly what your mindset does. And this World reverse card is really calling that out as well. It's really saying and reiterating almost over and over again that you can't shortcut through this. You can't, you know, we can't just, we can't expect all these things and then, you know, don't put the work in energy-wise to make those things happen for us, you know?